yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun and learn about the FBLA for this year. So please come if you are signed up for Future Visitors in America.
Did they say that was today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's me, but I'm saying last day.
Okay. Okay, sounds good. Okay, so Sammy, what was an objective correlative again?
When you add a few pictures and understand the meaning of
Yeah, so it's like a combination of images in a very specific way. T.S. Eliot thought it was almost like symbolic algebra. So if you have all of these different images added together in a very specific way, then it's going to create a very specific emotion. And you might not even be able to name exactly what that emotion is, but he felt like you're going to be able to understand it. So even with all of the symbolism and all of the wacky language of the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock, and kind of like the women come and go talking of Michelangelo, or the mermaids, and not totally understanding what that's supposed to be, what the meaning is supposed to be. He felt like even if you don't get all of that, you're going to get the emotion of the poem because of this imagistic algebra. So what we're doing is we're creating these images. We're going to put them in the hallway along with the other class. So there will be 24 images out there, and hopefully people walking by are just going to understand the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock by looking at our wall of images. T.S. Eliot says it will be so. So we're gonna test out his objective correlative. So again, if you're not an artist, it's not a big deal. You are just trying to capture like an emotion with your art. The big deal, the part that I actually care about as an English teacher, is that you're taking 5 quotations from Prufrock anywhere in the poem. It doesn't have to be right where he talks about the image, but anywhere in there, and you're justifying the choices that you're making on the image. So you're putting the little quotation to the side. I've got my examples like these guys, and then having just a couple words underneath that tells me how that quotation is justifying the choice in the image. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. I got my art supplies down here in the drawer. I'm letting you guys use the nice art supplies because you're my responsible students. And more paper up there if you need it. All right, good. Let me see.
All right. Just be aware of it. Some people see. I chose the quote. It's at the top. It's kind of fun.
Oh, I love this.
Kind of is like jealousy of like the ideal body and how
I
he
like
uses it.
You added an embellishment to the David.
I did it because the school
It's
said
gonna
to
go
my
in the
heart.
side, yes.
And then I
Okay,
explained
this
it.
is awesome. This is awesome. Tell me about. It looks like he has like scales on the
Okay,
side.
so that's actually like part of the muscle group. It's just like you don't see it often depicted in like actual artwork, but they actually have like, if you're like well-toned muscles, you'll
Yeah.
have like sort of like a scale.
Oh, awesome.
So if you examine the statue of David closely,
He's got that on the
Mhm.
side. Oh, that's cool.
although they're probably fainter than how much.
Yeah, I actually went and saw the David. I made my friends go, even though it was really expensive, and they were like, it was cool to see the David, but the museum itself is kind of boring. It's a lot of like pre-Renaissance art, so medieval art and stuff.
That's cool.
But I loved it.
Yeah.
It was very cool. I like his hair.
Yeah, I took creative liberties on hair. I
Yeah.
hated how it looked in the statue.
I like it.
So I was like,
And you did it like you made him have more hair so that it works with like him saying how his hair is growing. Then. Yep.
it's kind of a floof.
It's beautiful. I will get it laminated. Will you put it in the drawer
Yes.
for me?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Should I turn on music? I can turn on some classical. Didn't I put it as an announcement on Canvas? Yeah. We could play that. You guys want to like live in Raskolnikov's head for a little while?
So, station agents are
Beautiful.
Can I add, like, sort of like it's like a guess, right? So can I have like a guess, like a crowd play there, like it's incorporated
That's
and
a
whatnot.
very cool idea.
Like I know
yeah.
I'm mixing multiple images. but
No, that's okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me. I like that because you're actually kind of you're kind of creating that objective correlative yourself. Yeah. All right, let me make sure I didn't put any. All right, I don't think we have any explicit things on this. This is going to be a very interesting mix of music. It's like Queen, but then it's like butthole surfers, and then we transition into Les Mis. Oh wait, no, where's Flash? Yeah. It will be. They're beautiful. I mean, they don't have tails.
Their tails are on this.
Oh, I see.
And then I'm gonna give them pink for us.
I love it. It's gonna be like a true art piece.
It is. I'm an artist. I didn't speak all of art.
Are you an AP art? Yeah. How big is that class this year?
Decent. But it's about.
Oh, awesome. Is anyone in AP art history this year?
I wanted to pick that. So I was like, it's fine. She did it. So.
Yeah.
I'm in this course. Like eight, you got bio, and this class are all. I went to the first grade.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I did know that they put us in AP Gov during the same period, and I was like really upset about that when I found out so many people in classes. They need Gov at a different, how many sections of Gov are there? We need it a different period than Lang and Lang. You chose us of all those AP options. Wow. We are honored. Is that too loud? Is it all right? Okay. We do not need to record. So if you are absent, you are doing this for 45 minutes or something. So recording. Here's the image. Screen. The image. All right, just getting set up and trying to do it with Zoom is tough. 1 second. Okay, the poem we're going to read maybe tomorrow or next time, but it's called The Filling Station. And so it's a very imagery heavy poem. It's they were talking about character in the poem. How'd you like that poem about the fish, by the way? It was fish. I love that poem. I love it. And the reason I love it is because of the sensory detail, like the intense description of a fish. I really like that. And so I've chosen another Elizabeth Bishop poem to look at in class. And it's called The Filling Station. And I've got an image of a filling station for us to look at. Because I think I've talked about this before, but I think we're very good naturally at dissecting images. There's something about images that we can like really readily read, basically. And I want us to be able to do that with poems as well, which you guys are already doing a great job with that, but it can be interesting to see visual representation. So while this is getting warmed up, I'm going to turn light. You can see it. Are you familiar with this image? It's a pretty famous photograph. It's Dorothea Lange. She also took that really famous picture of the woman during the Depression that's like has the kids all around her. The close-up of that woman. This is a picture from the 1930s. called, I want to say convenience store, something like that. And I want us to look at the characters. So, take it in. All right. So first we've got this guy right there. And we've got this guy. This guy's harder to see. There he is. Got that guy. We got this guy poking out from behind the the log here. Yeah. And that is it. So these are the characters in our image. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people. Seems like one of them might own the shop and the others are just hanging out there. So tell me about these different characters. Here, I'll go close again. Tell me about what kind of personality we can like derive from like the way that they're sitting, the position that they're in, their facial expression, their fashion. What can we say about these different characters? This one? Yeah, they're nice, right? And can you see he's wearing a tie underneath his overalls, which is a look I haven't seen before. I don't know if that was a thing in the 30s, but I really like that. Yeah, they seem to be like kind of dressed up for just sitting in front of a gas station, basically, compared to how we dress now. I think it's interesting that this guy dresses nicer than the person who actually owns the store. You know. Tell me what else we can learn about these characters. Like what differentiates them maybe from each other? Yeah, Kale?
The two who are like, they're sitting down.
On the left, okay.
They look more casual and relaxed.
Okay, cool. So if we take this idea that I agree, they do look more casual and relaxed. What makes them, first of all, what makes them look casual and relaxed?
Just their way they're sitting. The other ones are like sitting up straight while the other two.
Okay, cool.
Their position is kind of more open. They're staring at the camera.
All right, good. So they seem to be more comfortable with the situation. And what could we say maybe about their relationship with this scene then, based on that idea that they seem comfortable?
Maybe they were aware at the time.
They're not caught off guard by a camera? Yeah, okay, cool. So they're kind of like posing here. Christiane? Ooh, why do you get that vibe? Right. All right, tell me, see if you can explain to me what is happening with his eyes that give us this idea that he is maybe not as excited to have this conversation. Yeah. Okay, good. Kind of like, who are you to take my picture? It almost looks like a little confrontational too. So I like that idea of a scowl, and that his eyes sort of look like empty here, like that they're not super excited about whatever's happening with the camera. All right, cool. Tell me more about these characters. We haven't talked about the owner.
Why is he staring at that one? That's my question.
Okay, so then we kind of get some information about what their relationship is, don't we?
Well, I'm just like, 'cause the other ones are staring at the camera,
Yes.
and then, but the owner is staring at the one guy who's drinking the alcohol.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Let's make some speculations. Why do we think that could be, Remy?
Maybe like, you know, all of them. He's only looking at the one guy there. But maybe it's just because of the fact that like the rest of them, he's seen them before at his like little store here, but this guy is like a person.
Okay.
He's like checking it out, I guess.
Okay, good. So there could be a kind of way that he's like checking out this guy to be like, who are you? Introduce yourself, right? Look at the look on his face though. Does he look like he's like questioning it, or does he look more comfortable?
It's kind of like he's in the middle of the class.
That's what he looks like to me. It almost looks like he and this guy have some kind of connection, you know, and maybe that is like, oh, I don't know you, so I'm like getting to know you. But to me, it feels like these two are more comfortable with each other. Kel?
Could it be possible that maybe he saw the guy was drinking something and he thought
And he's distracted by it. Yeah, for sure. That also means that this guy probably bought a product from him, from his store. So maybe he's a customer that way. Tell me about the guy, whoops, behind the pillar, because he's my favorite.
I feel bad.
You feel bad because he doesn't get to be in the famous picture.
He's in there, but I just like, if you're gonna be getting your picture taken, it's like pretty exciting. You can kind of see.
Yeah, it's like, to me, he looks like that friend who's like always kind of the fifth wheel, who's like sort of poking his head out to be like, and I'm here too, you know, and he seems like happy to be there, but you're right, there's something a little bit pathetic about his positioning here. Like he's also shorter, or at least positioned lower, so he also seems like a little bit kid brothery in this picture, I think. Okay, tell me about this guy here at the end. He does look like a little bit older. What do you think his relationship is like to the rest of the people, just based on where he's sitting? Okay, cool. He could be kind of leaderish. I also get that vibe from this guy over here, that he could be kind of more leaderish. And this guy over here on the right seems almost like outsider. I don't know, Remy?
It kind of seems so like the guy on the very left could be the leader, but then you're up on the very right. At least because he's older, it kind of seems like this older brother, and like it's the older brother that like wants to be away from his family in the picture.
Oh,
Separated from it. He doesn't separate them. There.
yeah, okay, cool. So it's like there's something separating him sort of like in terms of age, but also emotionally. You see that they're positioning on the actual bench, because these two right here are sitting so close together, and part of that is just him leaning over to be in the picture. But because they're so close together, it almost emphasizes his outsiderness. Yeah, Sammy? So maybe not leader, but more like overseer, like making sure everybody's kind of, you know, okay.
Like making sure, that kind of friend, you get hurt, they probably have a band.
Right. What makes him look more responsible than the others? Is it just the age? Is it also the clothing and the way he's sitting, Kale?
I think he just kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think his eyes.
No, his eyes are open.
Oh yeah.
I like this. It's like enhanced, like in cop shows. Yeah, so he looks like more amused. I agree. He doesn't look like giddy like this guy, like, oh, a picture. And he doesn't look kind of mad like this guy, or kind of like over it like this guy, or maybe a little bit showing off. Yeah, or nervous. He's just sort of like a little bit more calm. Now, speaking of facial expressions, tell me about this character. Yeah, he seems to be the least comfortable out of everyone, doesn't he? So tell me what we can kind of like surmise about his character then.
He seems like that one guy who isn't like all the way there.
Oh, like he's just sort of like somewhere off in another world. Could be. Yeah, but I think it's in a different way. Like this guy looks more confrontational. I'm going to stare you down with a cigarette in my mouth. Like this guy is so cool to me. This is who I want to be. This guy is more like, oh no, you know, like caught off guard a little. Yeah. I just remembered, I want to show you guys a TikTok next time about, I found out how I can do that. I can download them and show them to you. This guy analyzes friend group pictures. Have you seen him at all? people will send in their friend group picture and say, figure out who is, what their relationships are to each other. And he basically does what we just did, like knowing nothing about the situation, knowing a little bit about the historical context, which we haven't talked about yet. We kind of figure out who all of the different characters are and their relationships to each other, older brother, parent figure, little brother, fifth wheel, leader. We have all these ideas. This guy is clearly an outsider to the group, even if he is interacting with them. Part of that is because of historical context. So this is the 1930s. Tell me about what we need to know about the 1930s to be able to understand this picture. Yeah, you've got segregation going on. And so the fact that this man is serving these guys at his convenience store that is clearly in the South or the Midwest, or it's some sort of rural area. We know that. Tells us a little bit about his sort of like comfort with racial difference. They're sitting on the porch, but they are obviously not being like kind of kicked out of a situation, so that this is a store that kind of allows people to communicate together in ways that not all stores did. So there's a sense of comfort in the picture, and there's a way that some people in the picture are allowed kind of to be, have the social space at least to be confrontational. All right, so we are very good, like I said. I think you did a very good job at reading a visual image like that and figuring out relationships between each other and between the space in a visual relationship, in a visual picture. So let's do that in a poem. You're going to find the poem called Filling Station in your packet. Yeah, it's right after Proof Rock. That's right. I did put them in order. There's just one on the back table you can use. Okay, I'm going to read it to us. By Elizabeth Bishop, so same person who wrote the fish poem. And she says, "Oh, but it is dirty, this little filling station. Oil soaked, oil permeated to a disturbing overall black translucency. Be careful with that match. Father wears a dirty oil soaked monkey suit that cuts him under the arms, and several quick and saucy and greasy sons assist him." Oh, that should say it is a family's filling station. Did yours get hole punched? No. Okay, good. It is a family filling station, all quite thoroughly dirty. Do they live in the station? It has a cement porch behind the pumps, and on it a set of crushed and grease-impregnated wicker work. On the wicker sofa, a dirty dog, quite comfy. Some comic books provide the only note of color, a certain color. They lie upon a big, dim doily, draping a tabouret, part of a set, beside a big hirsute begonia. Why the extraneous plant? Why the tabouret? Why, oh why, the doily? Embroidered in daisy stitch with marguerites, I think, and heavy with gray crochet. Somebody embroidered the doily. Somebody waters the plant, or oils it maybe. Somebody arranges the row of cans so that they softly say, so, to high-strung automobiles. Somebody loves us all. So this poem has this setting that we're interpreting. It includes different characters. You've got a father, you've got greasy and quick, saucy and greasy sons. And then you have the person who is speaking the lines. You have the persona of the poem. Usually when we don't call it a narrator in poetry, we call it a persona. So you've got all these different characters who are interacting at this filling station, very similar, I think, to the scene that we just saw, a convenience store type situation. I am going to have you guys do poetry circles for this one. We will not get through with this, but we will get started. So let me give you the worksheet for this. So you 6 over here are going to be in a group. And then you 6 over here are in a group. And you got to sit and angle the desks so that you're facing each other. So move to wherever you can so that you're facing each other. I know we only have a couple minutes here, but we'll get started.
today for us to work on the top of the columns. We will also do a multiple choice practice. So before you leave for today, I'll give you the practice to take with you.
All right, so on this blue sheet, I've got a space for group thoughts on each one, and I have a space for personal conclusion. So you're going to talk through these questions with your group. Let's get the information filled out first. You put your name, the name of the poem at the filling station. Nope, it's just filling station. The year of publication for this one is 1979. All right, so you're going to go through each question. You're going to have a conversation, initial impressions of the poem. Basically, like, what do you think it's about? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What's standing out to you? And so on. And you'll just move through all of these different ideas. The only thing that you won't really be able to talk about. Nope, we've talked about all of these, so you are good. So the key here is to focus on the detail. I am making you guys do this now in your groups rather than as a class. So when you're doing it as a class, remember how in detail we were getting with like Plums and Emily Dickinson. We were looking at like the details, right? And really spending time. So the goal here is not to fill out the whole worksheet. I don't really care about that. If you get stuck on 2 questions, that's perfectly fine. What I want is for you guys to guide the discussion now. So give it a shot. And I'll be sitting in on your groups.
So if you're doing this at home, you're going to have to do the poetry circle by yourself. And then it becomes more of a worksheet. So just skip the middle column where it says group and move on to the personal stuff. But today we are only going to talk for 9 minutes now. So spend about 9 minutes working on it and really try and dig into that detail.